So I've noticed with shows that I've done for kids or somewhere than this that I tend to stick to shows that started in the mid-90s or later. The oldest show I've done is Boy Meets World, which premiered in '93, but every other show I've done started in 1996 or later. So I think it's time to go back a little ways. Not too much. I tend to stay out of the 80s because, well, any show made for children back then was just trying to sell toys. And before that, I don't even know what family TV was. But the next two reviews will be covering episodes that premiered before my brain could properly comprehend the color blue, let alone follow a story. And our first comes from a little show you may have heard of called Sonic the Hedgehog, aka Sonic SatAM. Based on the popular video game, Sonic SatAM ran from September 1993 to December 1994 on ABC, and follows our favorite blue hedgehog Sonic as he attempts to save his world from the evil Dr. Robotnik along with his team of freedom fighters. So I didn't grow up with this show. After I reviewed the Sonic Boom pilot back in 2015, I noticed that this show, and pretty much every other Sonic show released before Sonic Boom, was on Netflix. So I decided to check them all out, and this one was the only one of them that I liked enough to finish. Seriously, why would you let Jaleel White play 3 characters and have them sing? It's a pretty good show, especially for the time it came out. It's dark, but funny, exciting, but allows time for characters to breathe. The animation is great and has a really interesting story. There's really only one thing I hate about it, and that is the character of Antoine. And to show you why, I think it's best to look at one episode that tried to give him a starring role and completely fucked it up. This is Fed Up with Antoine. The episode starts with our titular Antoine running around the streets of Robotropolis, and here we get an example of the first problem with the character: he's an idiot. He's trying to be sneaky, but not only will he scream when a piece of paper flies in his face, but will slam a rock into a gargoyle. Why is he doing this? We don't know yet. One of the robots finds him, and we get our second problem with the character: his voice is obnoxious.
Oh, no. You must be making the large mistake, monsieur. I am Dr. Robotnik. I mean, Dr. Robotnik is my closest friend, yes.
It's bad enough he's a pathetic coward, and we'll get to that later, but the constant stuttering, the high pitch, the fact that he talks so fast, and of course the bad French accent because of fucking course, it pushes all of my buttons. And he's voiced by the great Rob Paulsen. This is his second worst character after Bubsy. Anyway, he tries to talk himself out of being captured, and thankfully Sonic comes to save him.
What's with you, Ant? You nearly blew our blind drop location.
Why do you guys bring him along? Just because he was part of the Royal Guard doesn't make him any good. Hell, he makes these Royal Guards look like John Wick. So Antoine was supposed to get a message from Uncle Chuck, but of course he fucked that up. And now we get another problem: he has a huge ego.
I did not blow your stupid message, and I am not needing your stupid help. I am having everything under control.
Sonic tells him to find his way back home by himself and leaves, and this is why Sonic is a better character than Mario. You think that fat bastard would leave some poor defenseless being alone in a dangerous city? Of course not, because he's a fucking tool. Sonic knows what's up.
I am not having everything under his control. Hello, bonsoir.
God damn it, Sonic, you disappointed me again. This is the worst thing you've done since... Take your pick. Back at Naho Village, Bunny is teaching Tails some martial arts when Antoine, to his credit, realizing he's not very good, asks her to teach him.
I am wonder if you can teach moi about, how do you say, marshmallow arts?
Oh, shut up. So after some training that involves punting a dummy at Sonic's house, he heads off to sulk but comes across a group of bikers called the Nasty Hyenas, which might be the most unimaginative name for anything I've ever heard. And I guess we can bring up the next problem: he's a coward. Not just a coward, but a stereotype of a coward. You know, I never liked the whole French are cowards stereotype. Yes, they surrendered in World War II, but you know, the Nazis kind of invaded Paris, and even afterward, there was still resistance fighters in the country throughout the rest of the war. This character is what my dad thinks all French people are. Anyway, Antoine hits his head, and after some shenanigans, he is dizzy and refers to himself as King Fu.
Oh, sorry, King. We didn't know it was you.
Yeah, you lost weight.
But not too much. That's good.
Fucking Ed would be telling you guys you're idiots.
You are meaning as in king?
And with Antoine as their king, all the hyenas starve to death after only a week and a half. That night, the rest of the group goes to look for Antoine and find footprints that smell like Antoine's perfume. Because if a male character is a coward or unmasculine, he has to wear perfume. So the hyenas accept him as their king as he starts giving them orders.
Now, you may bring to me a big pizza with extra anchovies.
They have pizza in the forest? I mean, I know that's like a biggest nitpick, it's just something I find weird. Sonic finds him and starts laughing when Antoine tells him to bow, and because Antoine is also a huge fucking asshole, yeah, that's another problem, he orders him thrown in the dungeon. But Sonic manages to escape as Sally and Bunny arrive.
Antoine, what in the heck is going on? It's the new king of whatever. And we're the pheasants.
Ah, oui. You are all nothing but the lowly pheasants.
Why don't they just offer him up as a sacrifice for Uncle Chuck?
Of course, except for you, my princess, whom shall be...
Next problem. He's a sexual assault lawsuit waiting to happen and can't take no for an answer.
If this is the way you are feeling, then I have no chance but to be resigning from the freedom fighters.
Okay, sweet. Even Sally, the nicest person in the group, when trying to come up with a positive quality Antoine has, can only come up with nice hair. She then looks up who the nasty hyenas are and finds out they are a cannibal tribe that eat their king. Does it technically count as cannibalism if they are hyenas and he's a fox? But he's already being cooked alive. You know, why do none of these cannibal tribes ever kill the person they plan to eat first? And the fact that I could come up with several other examples in film and TV scares me.
Is that pepper? Are you stark raving naked? You cannot spice a finest meal like myself with ordinary pepper.
Maybe you can make that Cajun fox stew from Courage the Cowardly Dog.
No, fox stew is not for you.
Of course, the group comes to save him, and Antoine does the one thing that is actually helpful and kicks one of the hyenas who's sneaking up on Sonic. And this leads into my final and by far the biggest problem with this character. He is useless. No, he's actually worse than useless. His ego and desire to be king not only nearly got him killed, but wasted everyone's time. Weren't they supposed to be getting some kind of message? Oh, and he can't even be humble and starts bragging about this one successful move that actually helped, even though the others did most of the work.
Oh, now, be watching close by Tails, huh? I used my famous moves to save Sonic from those dangerous criminal-type guys. Observe. Yeah!
Why, Antoine, that was actually quite...
Shh, I know. I am realizing that was not so good, huh? One more time.
I fucking hate you.
Much better.
I'll pick up my room later, Mom.
We should have let him eat him.
I agree, Sonic. God, this episode sucks. This character is one of the worst characters I've ever seen in animation. I dare say he's worse than High Five from the Emoji Movie. At least he did a couple of things to help the main character. This guy is an egotistical asshole with zero fighting skills who often makes the task harder for the team. He's not funny, he's not charming, he's ungodly annoying, and he is a taint on what was otherwise a pretty good show. This episode could have made him more interesting or show that he could be competent, but instead it just showed that Sonic and the rest of the freedom fighters should have just thrown him to Robotnik and his guards. Not even as a trade, just so he wouldn't mess up their plans anymore. I still do recommend the show. It's one of the better cartoons from the later 80s, early 90s time period. Just know that you can skip this episode and miss nothing. Well, that's one down, and next time we'll be looking at a TGIF sitcom with an episode that aired only a week after I was born. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Sonic